Hey, Jason Palliser here, and in this video we're going to be talking about, and I get hit with it all the time because I've been in banking. I've been in banking for 25 years. Is how do I increase my credit score? So I'm going to talk to you about some things about credit that you may or may not be aware of. Okay, so how do I increase my credit score? And I'll start by saying that, like I said, I've been in banking for 25 years, so I'm used to looking at credit reports. I've looked at thousands and thousands of credit reports. Also, too, at one point in time, had a credit repair company as well. So, and gave speeches on credit. So I'm going to give you a few things that you need to be thinking about when you're trying to not only raise your credit score, but manage your credit and your credit score. Okay. So what are some things that you can do? And I'm going to talk about things that you can do that'll hurt your score. I'm going to talk about some things that you can do that'll help your score. And I'm going to go from the standpoint of how can I achieve the highest credit score possible? Okay. You hearing me? And I'm not going to apologize that your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa. Now, don't anybody ever pull your credit. They make it, when somebody says, hey, I'm going to pull your credit, it's been implanted in your brain. It's like fire and brimstone. You're like, no, don't. So your heart beats differently, right? Well, some of these things are just simply not true. Okay. So let's remove some of the old rhetoric and install that new operating system in your brain on how to have a better credit score and also manage it better so that it can serve its purpose for you, right? So let's jump into this, okay? And if you like this stuff that we're dropping for you, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when we drop other good content, as always. And we appreciate it. But we want your feedback. We want your questions, comments. We're here to help you, okay? So credit score stuff. Let's get into it. What's a way to have a higher credit score? Using different types of credit, okay? So one example is you can have a mortgage, right? That's on your credit report. That's a mortgage, a loan. So it's mortgage reporting. That gives you bonus points, right? What else can you do? You can use consumer credit cards, right? So revolving credit, car loans. Okay. Car loans are a different type of credit that you can use that you can show that you can pay responsibly. And then the other one, these are usually the big four, consumer credit, or I'm sorry, not consumer credit, student loans, stuff like that. So installment loans, right? And so what I would tell you is this: the more that you have different types of credit that I just mentioned, the better your overall score is going to be. Okay, so that's one tip for you. Here's another tip with revolving credit cards, stuff like that. Try and keep your balance at any given time. Try and keep your balance on those cards below 50%. You get a better score when they're below 50%. Then another benchmark is below 30%. So the lower you keep them versus the high limit on them, the better your credit scores can be. Okay, the better your credit scores will be as well. And so that's something else that you can do. Okay, now let's talk about some things you shouldn't be doing. There's lots of people, again, banker for 25 years. We help people pay off some consumer debt that they've racked up for whatever reason, and they use the equity in their home to pay them off. And what do? They close out. So let's say you close out 5 or 6 credit cards that you had because you're like, hey, I'm in danger. I don't want to do that again, right? Well, guess what? Part of your overall credit score is how long you've had your open account. So when you start closing them out, now all of a sudden it looks like you don't have credit anymore. Some of you may have heard this or experienced it yourself. You're like, well, yeah, I had perfect credit. I've never missed a payment on anything, but I closed out my credit cards years ago. Don't have any car loans. I paid off my house. So we have people that have never missed a payment in their life that aren't credit worthy anymore because they're not showing any propensity to be able to use credit responsibly and pay it off. So it works against you. So what I would tell you is that don't go closing out if you already have some open lines of credit, credit cards, stuff like that. Don't go close out everything. You do, it's going to hurt your overall credit score, right? And so that's something that goes against conventional wisdom. Now you need to use it responsibly. So now here's another thing that hurts your credit score that most people aren't aware of, that a lot of you that listen to this do, that as a person for 25 years that cares about credit scores because it makes or break what program I can get you approved for. You have credit cards and you never use them. Okay. You think, well, hey man, I got 100%. I got 100% equity on my credit cards because I don't even use them. Well, here's the thing. The algorithms that they use to delineate what your score is going to be at any time you do a credit check, part of it is that you use it responsibly, like I already previously mentioned. So if you have credit cards that you never use, well, you're not showing any financial institution that you have the ability to use it and pay it off responsibly. So that actually ends up hurting your credit score. So what I would tell you is this: don't ever let any card that you have sit dormant for more than 90 days. Go out. You always get gas, right? You always get groceries. Revolve those that you want to keep low or you don't want to use. Just use them and then pay it off, right? So get a tank of gas and then pay it off. Get a pack of gum for all I care. Pay it off, okay? The more that you use them, the higher your score is going to be. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. Another thing, this is a way to increase your credit score by simply knowing and understanding and having the right knowledge, which is what we try and deliver to every investor that we get our hands on. That helps you win the game whenever you need to use your credit. Here's one thing that you can do. Most of you, okay, if not all of you, probably all of you, yourself at home right now, you've probably lived in more than one place. I'm willing to bet. So what you may be unaware of is that there may be, when a banker runs your credit or anybody checks your credit, there may be 7 addresses. Are you listening to me? There may be 7 addresses on your credit report. The more places it looks like you've lived, the less stable you look. So what you may or may not be aware of is that you can go to the 3 credit bureaus and dispute those other addresses and say, hey, I've never lived here, and prove it, right? And you can get those addresses removed. You get those addresses removed, guess what? Your scores go up. Maybe you didn't know that. So you're just thinking, hey, well, I pay my stuff on time. I got the highest score I can possibly have. No, you don't. If you have several addresses on there, it could be holding your score down a few points. So that's a tip for you to have a higher credit score. Okay. Another thing that you can do, another thing to be aware of, is what I always tell everyone that ever asks me a question about credit that you can do, and I would do systematically. So turn this into a machine, control what you can control. You've heard me say that on other videos. What I would do is just set up once every 6 months, set a reoccurring appointment on your calendar. It pops up and says, ask to increase my credit line. I repeat, ask to increase your credit line on the cards that you're using responsibly. And because if you're using them responsibly, they'll increase your limits. Well, guess what? If you had a card and say, hey, I want to increase my limit, and they say, hey, we can take you from 10 to 15, do it. Then 6 months from now, hey, I want to raise it again. They say, hey, we can raise you to 20 grand. Do it. So the more equity you have on these cards that you're using responsibly, the less it looks like when you start to use them, okay, the less it looks like your usage is versus the limit, and that helps you maintain and keep higher scores, right? So that's something that you can do to make sure that you have as high a credit score as you can. Now, let's go to the dark side for a second. Some of you right now that listen to this, you have good enough credit, but there might be stuff on there, a medical bill that somebody couldn't get a hold of you, went to the wrong address. And right now, as you're talking to me, you don't even know that you have a $100 collection on there. Now, if you have good credit, it's probably not hurting you that much. But what I strongly suggest is for you to take a note right now to go check. There's free services out there. Just go to Google and check free credit score checking or free credit reports. You can get a copy of your credit report. It's responsible of you to do that, okay? And so you want to take and look at it and see what things are on there. And you can request to have them removed. If there's something on there that's erroneous, get it removed. Here's a tip. If you've had collections, judgments, or missed payments on things, missed car payment, mortgage payment, credit card payment, you name it, listen to me. You can dispute those. And when you dispute those, here's what you may or may not know. The credit repair companies, or not the credit repair, but the credit companies, and you can use credit repair companies to do this for you. That's what they get paid to do, or you can do it yourself. You can dispute it, right? The burden of proof is not on you. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? The burden of proof is not on you. What does that mean? You can dispute it, and then the moment you dispute it, the credit agencies are on the clock. They're under a time frame, tick-tock, just like this on here, tick-tock, right? They're under a time frame to verify and confirm, or they can't confirm. If they can't confirm within a 30-day period, generally speaking, if they can't confirm it, then guess what? By law, Fair Credit Reporting Act, listening? By law, it has to be removed. So simply by just disputing with the 3 agencies, if they can't verify it, and sometimes this stuff's hard to verify. Original paperwork in today's world is hard to find. Okay. And if they can't find stuff, then guess what? Mortgage delinquencies by law have to be removed. Judgments have to be removed. Medical bills, judgments, collections have to be removed. Missed payments on credit cards, they have to be removed. So these are things that you need to think about. These are things that you can be doing to proactively try and increase your credit score, maintain it, keep it at the high level it is, or just take it. I mean, we've taken people from a 510 credit score up to 750. I always tell everybody this, no one, and look at it this way, no one can stop you from having a better credit score. Whether your score is 700 right now or 500, it doesn't matter to me. The scoring process is not human. Whether your score is horrible right now, celebrate it. Or whether it's great, celebrate it. Doesn't matter to me. No, you can control, no one can stop you from raising your credit score. It's simply just, when do we start, right? By law, when things have been on your credit report for a certain amount of time, they have to come off. Bankruptcies, after a certain amount of time, it's on you though, as a consumer, they have to come off, right? So these are things that you need to think about to maintain a credit score, increase your credit score. But I just want everyone on here that's listening, share it with somebody else that you think it might help. Okay. No one can stop anyone on this planet, or anyone in America using our credit scoring system. No one can stop any human being, no matter where their score is, or non-existent, by the way, from having a 750 credit score. It's simply, when are you going to start? You can control raising your score and then maintaining it. And I would strongly suggest just get one of those monitoring services so that you know real time if there's some work to be done, or something's happening on your credit report. Because you know why? As an investor, from time to time, you're going to want to finance properties, and a lot of that's predicated on what your score is, right? What your interest rate would be, how much you have to put down or not put down, right? So that's why we're talking about it here. So hopefully this helps you. We want to make sure that you are putting your best credit foot forward, and you know the things that you can do, and removing some of those old things that your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa planted in your brain that don't deserve to be there, right? So comment if you need help, comment on it, ask for help, anything that we can do to help you. All you got to do is raise your hand and ask. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're going to drop more good content for you. So see you on the next video, helping you be the best investor in America. See you later. Bye-bye.